Welcome, everyone, to the show. Welcome to Inside Traders, where we talk about what the smart money is doing. And if you don't know, the stock market is a place where people trade stocks and options. Most of the trading happens in options. Most of the trading of options is done by big banks and institutions, but nobody can see what they're doing until now. We're pulling back the curtain on the trading activity that happens every day in the stock market on this show. So you want to see what people are selling? So yeah, we talk about that, and we talk about kind of like interesting big prints. Just to give you a little preview of that, here's an example of some big money prints. Maybe we go and we look at some charts. We definitely talk to AI, but that is kind of the purpose of the show, is just to look at literally what is the options order flow, which is the majority of the trading that happens in the stock market is through options, and where is that money going? Because that gives you a pretty good buy and sell signal. And we can also look at the sentiment and review a couple other kind of things that can help you make a little bit more informed decisions in your trading efforts. And so this show is for anyone interested in markets or options trading. It's very much learning out loud and together. But the primary purpose is just to talk about the order flow and what people are buying and selling. So let's do it. Today, people are calling up Facebook and AMC again. You guys with AMC, nuts. A lot of premium going into Coinbase, which was a bloody day. Let's take a look at Coinbase. Yeah, bloody day for Coinbase. Oh, look at this. Look at this on the day. Where are we at? See, this is what I'm saying. I mean, Coinbase is a little bit in no man's land still. Like, we only have these candles to fight against us, to support us, I mean. Oh, did we already break through? Oh, yeah, we just smashed through. Okay, so what are we up against? Okay, so it looks like we actually have... That's a bit lower, though. Yeah, it looks like things get more supportive around $10 lower, 65. And so I can see why, though, people could be bullish short term on Coinbase. But my question to myself, because I am a really big believer in Coinbase, and there is no way that price will ever escape me. Like, I got my eyes on it. I'm waiting for that breakout. Always waiting for the breakout on Coinbase. And so this bar was such a fun ride. Whoa, we're going to get many of those in the future. Coinbase as a market cap, what's it at? Let's see. I can't navigate this thing well enough to do it in real time, but cool to see some premium going into Coinbase. I like that. I'm a big fan of that. Getting some China love for our friends at Alibaba, Google. Palantir got destroyed today. Yeah, I think they were down 9%. Let's see. This might be a good time to pick up shares, actually. We were seeing a lot of bulls come in betting for $20 recently. Wow, look at that shaft. Let me show you. Look at that shaft all the way down. This is the Palantir bulls getting fucking nuked. Womp. Okay, so we're actually at a lot. We could go a lot lower in Palantir. I'm not a technical analyst. Let me be very clear. The only thing I do is look for patterns. So if I see a horizontal line that's super clear through the chart, kind of makes sense, right? That's a pattern. That's a price level. That's a place where a lot of pricing events happened. Or if I just look at the lines, but plus also you have these candles and all this stuff really does help you reason about things. Especially just like the length of a candle is like a big one. So anyway, just looking at Palantir, where we're at around $10. So that's their IPO price as a SPAC, which is kind of funny. This is like the most legitimate SPAC. Man, I remember the SPAC days, SPAC heaven. Wow, look at these green bars. So that brings us up from $7 up to $10. This is why I like having access to this order flow, because you kind of want to be able to get a signal when people are doing a ton of buying, especially over a couple of sessions. So like, look at this, back to the chart. If you have these green bars here, that's like sustained buying pressure in those volume bars. And then look at these red bars, like, yeah. So all of this stuff does make a lot of sense if you want to break down markets into, man, they're so interesting. So we will get derailed if we start talking too much about it, but like the markets are always trying to figure out what is reality, like what is the real value of something, what is its price and what is it worth. Kind of, they're very manipulated. And so, but even that is like, there's information everywhere in markets. So maybe we'll do a whole discussion on that at some point. But for now, just looking at this like gap, you don't want to see a gap. That's not what you want to see when you're like worried about the price of something. You don't want to see, you want to see something backing that price. You want to see a bunch of, boom. You want to see a bunch of stuff back here, right? And so in theory, Palantir could go a lot lower, and if it breaks through 1360, because that's how it works. That really is how it works. So whenever you have like a level, like a line, and people test it, if you break through all of the stop orders and the limit buys and whatever events had been set up at that level, to the downside. Now, sometimes you can break through, just poke your head in, see what's going on. Oh, I don't like it, and we're going to bounce back up, right? But if you break through and just have like continued selling pressure, you're going to go all the way down into the next candle, basically. And all this happens at every time period. You can actually just see, if you have enough of a view of the graph, what time period we're kind of trending and trading at. I think lately we've been trading at super short term. But yeah, all these charts are just like, see, this is actually kind of more what you want to see with the ARC. So first of all, as far as like a buy, not getting a bid yet, like this is all still just like increasing selling pressure. But you would imagine that actually a bid would come soon. It'd be crazy if we tested out 35. That could happen. Just buy puts, for real. Cycle them every day. Just, this is the thing. Like, why? This is something I talked about yesterday on if you're like a bull, if you're like bullish on the market, and bullish on the price of a certain stock, which I'm like a hyper bull on fucking ARK. Not even, like, this isn't even my favorite fund, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I just don't get genomics as much. It's just more about how punished they've been. Like, ARK got punished. Look at this. That's ARK. That's innovation. That's the future. This is trading below where it was in the pandemic. This is trading below where it was in 2017. And it's the same thing with Disney. Like, why am I so interested in Disney? Which I think also got a bid. Let's see. Did we get a bid? Disney, yes, today. And so, but even just look at the premium here. Oh, of course, the inside traders were doing their usual tricks today. So look, is that 3x the entire call volume on stocks? Yeah, that's like 10x. So if you take all the call volume on stocks compared to what they put into SPY today, 171 versus 83, it's crazy. It's crazy. IWM, like this, these are the tools. So one of the things that I hope to do in this live stream eventually during market hours, and I have the connection to make this happen, is to visualize the order flow coming in, like all the boxes stacking and growing in size by volume and shading by whatever you want, but probably sentiment and price. Anyway, just like visualizing the order flow in different time periods, because every time period tells a different story. So like if we go back to the charts and go to the 1 day, well, let's just go to today. This is going to tell a totally different story. Like if you were to zoom out, this is just like it. This is less than a candle or whatever. It's one candle, and so we can zoom out a little bit to see this. Where is this? 44. Yeah, I mean it has been relentless selling, which is kind of exciting because we are. So I was telling you about the price action of the day. We'll go back to that idea in a second. It's exciting because we're getting to this level where we broke through support, and if we don't get a bounce, then whatever. Like this is all like I think a great buying zone for sure for ARK and Tesla, where you can be pretty confident if you're going long in the next like 10 to 20% down. You're like with ARK, we'll look at it in a second. So just look at this stuff today. So where do we start on the day? So we basically have a big move up right into close, not even that big. We just kind of move up 30 cents. And then we kind of have a little bit of a testing of probably a recent level. Let's see. Yeah, so we're just testing this like current top is like 40.80, like breaking through 40.80 and then holding that and going higher. You can kind of bet that it'll be going higher. And so don't take like any of this. I'm just a guy on the internet giving my opinion, like, whatever. I'm just spitballing here. So, but you could see it for yourself. You could just look at what I'm doing. Just look for the lines. And like this is all consolidation. In fact, this whole area, consolidation. If you zoom out far enough, it'll really look like consolidation. Reset. So look at that. So this whole range of 45 to 35, this $10 range, I just think that is like the best time to accumulate. Maybe it is possible we could go to 35 because, first of all, always black swans. So like that's real. This is why it's like hard to play with options because you just have to stay so on the ball, and it's hard to even manage like 5 contracts, let alone like 200 or whatever. Like options are definitely a focus game. You really have to focus on individual positions. But like if you're just buying long calls down here, I don't know, I don't do this, right? Don't do anything I say. But like if you were to buy long calls from 35 to 45 and just sit on those for a year and a half, I think that would be a good buy. Just by the price history at the depth of the pandemic, we're at 32. But you know what? Like, here's what's kind of interesting about that. This was a totally different economic picture. There was fear, but this was pre-war in Ukraine and pre-inflation. The new economic picture, which has been signaling for quite a while now, is recession. And I have no idea. But, none of this really matters. Why does it whether or not there's a recession matters not at all. Like, just go make your trades according to the market sentiment. So, like, don't spit into the wind. Just if it's bearish, generally have a bearish tilt at least towards your actions. If it's bullish, then do the same. Like, just consider the sentiment of what the people with the most information and the most money are doing. Like, that is a strong signal. So, but they also do these games, and it's all like manipulated. So, this is an example of that. That this pattern I am obsessed with, we can talk about it later. Basically, when they call up one, they put down the other. Like, they're always like doing the inverse action on both the ETFs of SPY and QQQ, and sometimes others like the IWM is featured a lot. So, yeah, almost not a lot of premium going into individual tickers today. I would like to understand more of the volume. Maybe that's your unusual volume, I guess, is something else. So, dark pools, this is like Saudi Arabia, like back channeling with like Britain and gold, and I don't know, the Pope's probably in on it. Like, this is dark shit. We don't really have to even go there. Let's not even go there. So I did think there were some interesting things coming down the tape, which I had a question queued up for us with GPT. We can go ahead and do that now. GDT is my LLM, Gamma Delta Theta. It's going to tell us a story here about when traders used to read the tape back in the day. Oh, God, this is a long story. All right. Can you tell it in less than 100 words? Oh my God, what if it just like goes on for like a day and a half? I'm sorry I didn't appreciate your story, GDT. In the 20th century, traders read the tape from ticker machines for stock prices. Legend has it some inside traders use Morse code to, okay, this is kind of funny, but did it actually even happen? What does it mean to read the tape? Oh, GDT. So what's cool about the new version of OpenAI is you can set custom instructions, and it does a pretty good job at sticking to those. It actually does an annoyingly too good of a job. Like, it's going to be such a delicate balance between, anyway, AI is hard. So reading the tape refers to the practice of observing the ticker tape, a device that printed real-time stock prices on a continuous strip of paper. That's pretty cool. Traders would analyze this information to discern patterns and trends in the market. Yeah. Can you imagine what they would do if they could have this? Like, this is a gift. To be able to see like all of this in all sorts of, am I getting cut off? Let's expand that. I'll do that later. Anyway, like, to be able to have this level of information, I love these probability bands. I believe they're called Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands is what I like to call them. I think that is what they're called, Bollinger Bands. Anyway, can't quite get it today. But that's basically just a range of probability. And so when this range gets really wide is when there's like a lot of volatility. And when it's narrow, that I think is a really good time to buy when it narrows, because that's consolidation. So we're not really in that right now. We could be entering that as we speak. So this is kind of what I was saying with like Palantir having to like go retrace some steps or whatever back towards 10. I would argue the same thing for ARK. If ARK is going to keep testing lower, which there may be a reason, right? There may be a reason, like maybe something happens. As the market is always looking for an excuse to retest price levels. Like, it's not, this is my opinion, like, who could validate what I just said? Like, it's just something I'm saying, right? Like, just take it all with a grain of sugar, maybe. Why salt? Like, why are we taking it with salt? Salt's pretty good. So, like, if you are not backstopped by any recent previous price action, then there's no like stop orders, there's no limit orders or whatever. Like there's just no events that machines have like been set up to process for. And I think that actually is the best time to accumulate, just based off of what makes sense to me. Like you don't want to really be buying these peaks unless you are in like this technical trend, but then you just got to be waiting for that reversal, which you know is going to happen. And that's what I think about with like the people that are holding on to Nvidia right now are champs. Those guys are champs. You guys are champs. Like, holy crap. You're going to hold on to Nvidia into earnings? Like, what are they going to quintuple again? Maybe they will. Like, it would be great if they did. This gap must be filled. It must. It must. If you look at every chart, through all of the charts I've ever seen, throughout all of history, every gap gets filled eventually. But not really. But just like the majority of the time it does. And that's such recent price action. It just makes sense to me that at some point you're going to be able to buy Nvidia at 300, but you're probably not going to have any money to buy it because it's only at 300 for a second, due to a, like World War Z threat, like zombies are friggin' here and the stock market is crashing or something. I don't know. But like the market will look for an excuse, from my experience, to retest previous price levels until it is satisfied. Now, we'd all love to retest the gap of Apple stock from like 30 cents to 80 cents, right? Like that'd be a fun one to be able to like participate in, but that's not too likely. Maybe not even 80 is likely, but it probably is. Let's look at Apple. I think they did have like a similar chart to Nvidia where it was just like, whoa, we are at all-time highs. Now, the funny thing would be if these companies, I think there's a good argument that they could just keep going up forever, all since 2015. And so where are we at with Apple? It's actually having a pretty good give back. So Apple is at price history. Where does this go to? December. No, that's not that much. Okay. So let's like go like a little bit. Boom. How do I? Okay. Well, still, you could see like, first of all, that is a pretty good decline in Apple right there. But it's still just barely brushing up against very tenuous ground. And so like if there really was like some kind of market disaster, that is where this stuff comes in. Like this whole area in Apple from $80 to like 170 could get retested in some kind of a black swan event. And so I think, like, I'm not doing this, I'm just thinking out loud. I wonder if maybe then a really good move would be to just like buy the super longest puts you can and just let them sit there. So hard not to sell them, but like just let them sit there forever at wherever there isn't a ton of price history. And with Apple, let's get all time. There is really a ton of price history. The all-time looks so crazy. Even just look at the Bollinger Band all-time. So like where are we at? So this is 2010. We go, where are we at? Buck. So we 20x in 5 years from 2010. Okay. Right? Yeah. And then we, get a couple more, not quite even a multiple. But then it kind of makes sense. They're just stacking multiples. These big tech companies, maybe they just go run up forever. But, like that's not quite the point I'm making here. The point I'm making here is that we always have to retest old price levels. So look at how clear that line is. Come on, anyone can see that. You don't have to be a freaking stock champ, you could just look at it. Look at that. That lines up. How do I add some more? Well, anyway, like this, the bottom of this candle lines up with the top of this handle. Oh, it's wizardry. No, it's just look at it. And so what makes sense to me, 125 would be like a pretty juicy time to get your hands on Apple. But how do we get there? How do we get there? You have the bears. Apparently, like, they don't even need to use equity to do this. They could just borrow shares, and they are able to then sell calls with borrowed shares. That sounds awesome. I would love to do that. Like, selling calls, that's way better than puts. The way I can sell calls is if I have some kind of equity. I have to either have a purchase call in the same chain or whatever. I guess, like, I can pair it with a purchase call, or I can pair it with shares, but I can't just like borrow naked fucking whatever. Anyway, I do wonder if we should examine not the shorting of stocks, but like the ability to like borrow shares you don't even own. I don't know, like maybe that is a fine instrument. Maybe it is. It's a good way to nuke yourself. You have no collateral. That's a good way to nuke yourself if you're wrong. So anyway, just talk about this stuff. Like, did GDT ever tell us what it was? Yeah, so reading the tape, as we're doing here, this is what the tape looks like. Reading it is, back in the day, everyone would huddle around. No, it wasn't a porn. It was the tape, and they wanted to see what the price of Tesla was, or whatever like Standard Oil, whatever it was. And that's how they would make trade decisions. Why? Because it matters what other people are buying and selling. And what really matters is getting access to that information in real time. And so I think there's all sorts of ways that we can visualize this data. Let's see, maybe I do have an example of it. I have been playing around, not quite yet. I have been playing around with I can show you actually. Yeah, I'll show you. With a live stream of every trade, and it gives you a different signal. It's a pretty interesting signal. So it's going to be worth me taking a second to figure out how to show you. Nope. Oh yeah, here it is. So let's just duplicate, and bring this right here. So what you're looking at was a specific options contract that I was monitoring and using that kind of as a signal for the stock, but also just that contract. What was our low? Holy shit. We got down to, wow. So this tanked into close. Oh, wow. That's incredible. This contract was $8 yesterday. $8. It just shows you, like, this is how this stuff works. These like contracts are so volatile. This contract by the end of trading tomorrow could be like $12, you know? And the reason this is so volatile is because this contract is about to expire. And that's a lot of what these institutions trade is contracts that are about to expire. So yeah, if you look at this, just to explain what you're seeing here. So we're looking at this expiring contract on Tesla, and we're just monitoring the price and ticking it every time it's been at that price before, which is actually a shockingly useful signal, because it shows you when you're breaking into different price levels, because you'll accumulate in zones, right? So like we were at this price level 300 times. So like that's a 3, and we'll be at 4 and 5. And there's, like many ticks throughout the day at many different nominal, I guess it is said, just like the actual dollar value it's kind of useful to count those ticks. And then you can see, like right here, like it was not at 197 for long. It only had 47 ticks at 197. But this is just breaking into new lows right before close. So the previous low was 186. Oh, so we actually still did close above the low. Interesting. Wow. That's interesting. So we closed above the low. The high was 545, not of the day, just of this monitor. Interesting. So anyway, yeah, like all of this real-time information can give you kind of a unique or different signal. And hopefully in the longest of terms, I can like be streaming and like doing stuff live, like maybe doing some live trading. And really just kind of explain my thought process and how I am trying to play the game here, which is I want to be able to compete with the biggest players. And the reason I think I even have a remote chance of doing that, and any of us would, is one, because we could see what they're doing. Like we can't see everything they're doing, which is like, seems like it should be illegal. That is right here. What are they doing? Like 25 million of premium into SPX. Is that an inverse? Not all of these are. Like some puts are sold and some calls are sold. And anyway, you know what I'm saying. Like sometimes this could be bearish or bullish depending on which side and of the trade you're on. And the effect it has on the position. So yeah, what is this? Like all this premium, this is all happening live. Like that can be a strong signal. So if you can look at a company that you are interested in, let's just look at coin. Got to be bearish, bullish. Look at that. Oh, super bulls. Love seeing that. Do I have a filter? Holy shit, that's bullish. Oh, I love that. I love that. What are they buying? Whoa, we got longs. We got longs on coin. Damn. Okay, so they're paying. Oh shit, that's an expensive contract. What is that strike? There's no way that's that expensive. The IV on Coinbase is like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let's see what their actual contract is. Boom. There we go. There. Coinbase. Let's see. Whoa. There was a dip into close. That's crazy. You could have bought Coinbase at 4 p.m. for $71 and it instantly got bought up to 74. That'd have been nice to see. But that's what I'm talking about with like the price. Like some people had a buy order at like $71 and they were like, there's no way it'll get filled, but I'll just place the order. Then it gets filled. So yeah, tons of premium. What the fuck? Look at this. I mean, it could be time for Coinbase. It could be time. Like if you want to look at what these guys might be betting on, we need to go look at the chart. The chart will tell us at least a little bit. It'll tell us better than anything else what is happening. So Coinbase, all time, boom. Well, let's just go like 1 year is basically all time. Maybe 2. There it is. So here's the whole spark of Coinbase in one spark. So IPOs and just that is a funny red candle. That's a doom. Look at that doom. Boom. From 420. It's a miracle. Oh my God. Hey, like I'm just doing what God says, right? Like I follow the spirit of the law. That's epic. Is that candle high? Seriously, 420. 429.54. Epic. So then we just crash instantly down to like $200. IPO was 250. Yeah. And we're kind of scooting along. We kind of have this resurgence back up above 300. There's the coin bulls. There's the coin bulls. And you want to know what they see is the world of crypto, which is very much a nascent world. And I don't think anyone has a clear picture of exactly everything that's going to happen. But I think there are some principles from crypto land that we can all really appreciate and know will be part of our future. And one of those is just decentralization. So if there's one index to buy to bet on crypto, if you just want to buy one thing, set it and forget it, it's going to be Coinbase. It will be Coinbase. It may already be Coinbase. So that's my thought. That's one guy's opinion, right? Like I say it like it's a immutable fact of the universe. That's only because it is to me. So yeah, like we instantly go from $429.54 all the way down to $200, and then this is like the what is this recent decline? I mean, just getting hammered by SEC and this and that and the next. But actually, the price is looking pretty good. Okay, so now we're starting to see, this is why we look at the history to see where we've been. And that will give us a hint about where we're going. This is why it's like interesting to actually know history. You can learn stuff. Like one of the things you learn is people never change. So again, one man's opinion. So like we got pretty good upper penetration of $80, which is the upper end of the probability since August of 22 of the Bollinger Band. There it was. And on the lower end, it's $40. Okay, yeah, that's a good range. That is a good range. So yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of where you could have bought it for like $29 along with ARK on the same day in January or December. But all this top just got chopped, which is good because it makes sense that we would get chopped. This whole gap got tested. So I don't know if you can technically call that a gap, but you could just see there's like a really quick decline here from May to, just like in a couple of days. And then, of course, where do we stop here? At the previous falling off point. Like our ceiling was where we previously failed to have support, is now we're capped there until we get enough momentum to fucking spike through. And then the exact opposite happens, where if it is a sustained rally, then you would expect that would be a good place to buy on the way down. And so what are these buys on the tape is $100. Yeah, that makes sense. But how can the price be so? Oh, okay. So this is saying $100 by 2025. Wow. That is a long-term call, sir. I appreciate that. That's a nice capital to put to work. Cool. Well, we got some bulls on Coinbase out there. It's about time, actually. And we can see it's about time by seeing that we're at this upper end. But if Coinbase did continue to fall, where might you start entering would be about now, right? Like if you were hedging, like if you didn't have any coin exposure and you were hedging, of course you should buy right now. Like this is the time to buy if you don't have any. Just take your first bite. But if you're looking to accumulate more, there is not a ton of price. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Make that a little bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit thin is the word I've heard said. It makes sense. Like the previous price action is just thin from 65 to 75, which is above where we are now. So if we get down to 65, I would say that's a pretty freaking good time. Then from there, if we could go all the way back to $30, good luck. That'd be great. Buy puts. That'd be great. but I doubt it's going to happen. Like, it's Coinbase. And so we'll see what actually happens. Nobody can predict any of this stuff that happens in the market. So yeah, I don't have too much more for you guys today. We could hop in. Oh, well, yeah, maybe in the future I'll be able to like get this stuff going live so you can actually see this kind of signal and you can see where the price, one of my favorite events that I think you should be able to capture through an algorithm is when you see the price holding and then it has a move and then it holds and it kind of like you can see it having this like resistance for a time and then it has like this huge action right after, like a ton of explosion either to the downside or the upside on both sides. And being able to like see that a second before could actually be pretty interesting. I think you could get an indicator that that is happening, right? Because you can look at the velocity of orders and the change. Like this is what people do. They create algorithms to kind of just, it's not that crazy. GDT, you guys want to see something crazy? Check this shiz out. Google Chrome, GDT, can't find it. I'll just go here. Oh, that's GDT. Nice. So write me a function that will give me the velocity of events from a WebSocket. No, it is stream in Node.js using TypeScript. It's going to come up with some math that works. It's crazy. I couldn't tell you why it works exactly, but it does work. And if the math doesn't work like you like it, then you ask it to tune it behaviorally. You just describe what you want the math to do. So you want it to calculate the price. You want it to calculate the Greeks. And of course, like it's not going to be like exact, but it's a signal. Like imagine getting like a couple of blinks right before there was like an explosion or whatever to either side. So monitor event velocity, how's it doing it? Anyway, first of all, could we all just appreciate that that is on the screen now? Like even just for ideas and thinking through like how to do stuff, that's incredible. So WebSocket interval, what's it doing? Well, like what's the actual velocity measure? That's events per second. Like, no, we want, well, events per second is great, but we want to be able to detect changes in velocity and signal or emit on those detections. And it's going to be like, oh, great, here's another thing. Like this unit of logic right here, tons of these work out of the box, tons of them, would cost you 100, maybe 250 bucks, maybe 500 bucks of a developer's time, a lot, costs you a lot. So what do we do? Velocity, event count, interval. So what's our interval? I don't see it. Oh, you give the interval. Velocity per second. All right. Well, anyway, point is like GDT is pretty freaking cool and it's fun to be able to code this stuff up. So hopefully we can get some live views of the tape and then we can actually do what these guys did back in the day when they would gather around a device that was printing real-time stock prices on a continuous strip of paper, and traders would analyze this information to discern patterns and trends in the market, helping them make more informed trading decisions. So pretty objectively valuable to look at the order flow. Hard to say that's an opinion. As for Morse code, part of the story, it's more of a legend or myth. There's no concrete evidence. It's called for okay. Well, I want to believe it, so it's fine. So I choose to believe that they were typing with Morse code, but either way, like it's a practice. Traders should read the tape. It used to come out on a piece of paper, and now we can like make boxes dance around on a screen. It'll be fun. So thank you guys. That's the show. See you next time. Maybe tomorrow, probably tomorrow, when I am going to be like analyzing what people are buying and selling. And yeah, like here's the tape, here's the flow, and